for all of us, we have one person in our life that we can call, right? Like the best friend that you can call and say, hey, I just need to talk through something. Who was that person for you during cancer, during treatment, or who is that person currently that you can call on that made a difference? And what did they do to help you through this process?
Of course, my mom came, and my husband, and my kids. They would drop in, and I didn't always want them when I was chemoing. My sister, who is 8 years older, did breast cancer a week ahead of me, and I didn't know that till I called her to let her know I was doing, and she's like, Russell, her husband, Russell, Sally has breast cancer, and I'm like, okay. And she's in California. I'm like, that is the oddest response. And she's like, I have it too. And she had already gone and got her surgery, and I was a week from going in to get mine. And I'm like, well, first I wanted to kill her for not telling us, but she thought she could do that by herself in California. So what was so nice is we would, and I was telling her, text me. And we would text. She was a week ahead in chemo. So when she was going through her train wreck, I was feeling good. And so when she was coming out of it, I had chemoed. And so those first 10 days when I'm thinking, okay, I'm not gonna make it. So we would text each other and we daily text. And some days it was like, I don't feel like talking today. Yeah. So that was so nice. I think I'm so sad she had to go through it. I'm so grateful. I'm not grateful I had to go through it, but I was grateful we got to do it together. Yeah, that we had that support. So that's who for me.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, my parents were, when I found my lump, I told my parents right away, and my dad has gone to every appointment with me, has carted my butt around to every doctor's appointment. And my friends, I have I have a lot of amazing friends, but my two friends have been amazing. My friend Heather, she gave me my first shower and washed my hair, and Natalie gave me my second shower, and it's so weird to have your friends shower you, but whatever, they're just boobs, they're gone now, so who cares? But
I can say this, I came to the hospital when you had surgery, and I met your parents in the elevator coming up to your room, and we had no idea, we didn't know each other, and I had a rose for Amy, and so that started the conversation, and your dad and your mom were both so incredible, and they were incredible in the room, and I got to meet your friends. So you know that they do have your back, and they support you because they wouldn't let you go through it alone.
My friend Heather, she does Pampered Chef, and she just started a Pampered Chef party for a fundraiser for me.
That's very nice.
That's amazing that you would even do that.
Amazing. Yeah. That's what friends are for.
Yeah.
Ginger.
Well, mine's a little bit interesting because I was pregnant. So granted, when I found out, I called my mom and dad. So my mom was amazing during that time, and my siblings were amazing during that time. I kind of had a husband that was checked out a lot of times. So during the pregnancy and, because I took my son full term, and then I had 3 additional surgeries and started chemo when he was about 6 to 8 weeks old. It's kind of a blur. In fact, I couldn't remember his birthday for 5 years. So then I had mommy guilt because, you're not able to retain that information because there was so much going on. Yeah, so my mom was always there for me. She would come and take care of the baby, and then I had amazing neighbors that would watch my kids during treatments. And when I got re-diagnosed, that was a different story because now my little baby was 8, and my other 2 children were in their teens. And the second time around was a different story. I wasn't gonna cry. Second time around, second time around was a different story. And I found out a lot of some unsavory things about my husband at that time. In fact, so much so when you talk about waves and you talk about not feeling sure, my integrity was so challenged that I actually spent a week in the behavioral unit. And because I had a breakdown, because my reality just shattered. Yeah. It shattered. And so that led to divorce and, going through treatments while you're doing child custody evaluations and battles, and you have to step away from everything that, that you've created and businesses. And I mean, it was huge. I mean, it was the snot cry in the corner. We all know it's not cry in the corner, like trying to figure out ourselves and what we're going to do. So this time around, I really made the intention to start receiving more, because I was always a giver. And I started to receiving more. So I've had people rally around me now, where I have some really good friends, and my family has stepped in, and it's been amazing. But I made the choice to allow myself really to be okay not being okay. Just being okay not being okay, and being okay accepting that, you know, every day is going to be different, and some people are going to walk away. Some people will not be able to handle it. Some people will rally around you, and then your hair goes back, and then they go away, you know, because they think you still don't need help when the emotional stress and the emotional strain is so huge. But, you know, I've learned to allow people to be, because I can't control them.
So it sounds like you chose to almost support yourself.
I supported myself.
The second time around,
Yep.
you chose you.
I was the supporter
Yes,
for me.
and
Yeah.
and that's okay. You had great friends around you, but you chose to allow yourself to nurture.
Yeah, more
your own.
self-care.
Yeah,
Tons more
absolutely.
self-care this time around. Yeah.
Great. Lydia.
The interesting thing about this disease is that you can be surrounded by the most amazing, well-intentioned people on the planet, and you can still feel very alone. And that was a lot for me. Wasn't fair to my husband, because I hid a lot of it, you know, crying in the shower and that kind of stuff.
I've done it in the closet.
Yep, exactly. He was amazing, of course, but I did not, there were things I didn't tell him. One thing you also realize that there are certain people you can be real with and others that you can't. So how are you doing? I'm doing great, you know, and other ones that, you know, you just look at them and you start crying, and then you tell them everything, and you tell right from, you know, the bloody nose that put me into the emergency room to the, you know, gastrointestinal issues. And so you just have to pick and choose. And the same thing with who you reveal it to and how you reveal it. And it's this really interesting process. But there was a gal at my mom was amazing too. She flew out for my second and third chemos, but I love that you use it as a verb, when I chemoed, but it was cracked me up. But there's a gal at my church that had gone through a single mastectomy and chemo, and she and her husband were instrumental to my husband and me in terms of advice and things to do, and I was so grateful for that. And she would write me notes. I'd probably get a note from her every couple of weeks, and that just was so tender to me. And I have two other friends in California that I called as well that had been through it. And it's just so individualized. It's unbelievable. I mean, just our stories here, but every single person you talk to, it's completely individualized.
Absolutely.
And as unique as each of us is. And
Yes.
it's really interesting. So, anyhow.
Well, I have so many, it's hard to. You know, my husband, of course, and my daughter, and my teacher of 20 years, because he's been through it, and then, of course, the lady I was telling you about. But also my community of where I teach, because they have been giving me so much that they say I give to them, that it, you know, the group energy.
It's reciprocal.
It's Tai Chi and Qigong brings me back to my center, where I feel like, you know, trying to be strong and stuff all the time. Like even the simple thing of before I lost my hair, because I knew, you know, you're told you're going to lose your hair, and you're like, okay, I got this. And then you start to lose your hair. And my husband, in a nice, gentle way, said, honey, you knew this was going to happen. And my thought was, yeah, but it's different when you experience it. So knowing and experiencing are two different things.
Yes, I agree.
And, but as far as, if I can say, having people come to your chemo, when you say no to somebody who really wants to help, you block their giving. And I've had friends who have totally told me, thank you so much for taking me up on this. And the time flies, and if it's those real friends, you want to have them there. There are some people, like I didn't want my husband to come to chemo. It was like he wanted to, but he didn't. Kind of, you know, we were both. And it was rough the first time, but the second time it was okay, because there's some people that are really nurturing and can be there for you, and some people, better to have them pick you up and take you and stuff like that. But if there are people in your life that want to do things, I had a dear sweet friend who gave me a little gift on my porch. I had 12 chemo treatments every night before, and wrote me a note, and they were different notes. And then people who really wanted to take me to chemo, and other people were from afar. And it's okay to love people from afar. I can't handle everybody in my space.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot.